My heart is beating so loud that I can hear it in my ears. It's beating so hard that you can probably see the movement in my chest. Yeah, even you in the back row. I think my voice sounds weird, like it's not even mine. And I think my voice sounds weird, like like it's not even mine. And for the first time in my life, I'm glad I don't have a piece of paper in my hand because my hands are trembling so much that I would, fumble around with it. And then I would drop it. And then I would get flustered because I dropped it. And then everybody would laugh. And oh my God, what an embarrassing spectacle that would be. An embarrassing spectacle indeed. It's amusing, hilarious even. It's also terrifying. But why? I imagine my Neanderthal ancestor, let's call him Grog. Covered in battle scars from his last hunt, animal hide around his waist, but head shaking in shame. Grog is not even this scared when fighting a wolf pack for deer meat. So, why does my heart pound? Why do my pupils dilate? Why do my hands shake? Why does my stomach turn, just like his probably did, before a near fatal encounter in his hunt? Our brain is a funny little thing. It has gotten smart enough to help us explore the expanse that is our universe, the universe that is our own brain and body. But somehow, it still can't grasp the fact that you, a wonderful audience of 100, is significantly less dangerous than a saber-toothed tiger. Well, the fight or flight response is what triggers these events. Madam Amygdala first lights up. Then, Mr. Hypothalamus is up and alert. He nudges his next door neighbor, Miss Pituitary. Miss Pituitary then calls out to the friendly neighborhood twins, the kidneys, who then ring up their friend, the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands then sound their alarm, and suddenly, adrenaline is coursing through my veins. My body is ready to fight or flee from a vicious attack. Thousands and thousands of years of evolution has perfected the response of the residents of the limbic system neighborhood. Meanwhile, my much, much younger ally, the prefrontal cortex, shouts to no avail. These are just people. This is just speaking. What are you so afraid of? You do this all day, relentlessly. Your life is not in danger. And so, here we are, in the midst of a mental tug of war. To fear or not to fear? That is the question. And perhaps the answer to this question lies with a woman known only as SM. SM had a rare genetic condition called Urbach-Wiethe, which led to calcium deposits in her brain. Her amygdalae, which are important parts of the brain when it comes to feeling fear, were completely calcified, which made her biologically incapable of feeling fear. She had no inhibitions. Now, this may seem like a superhuman ability to wish for. However, it was a double-edged sword. This woman was remarkably brave, but constantly put herself into life-threatening situations. She was robbed, she was physically assaulted, and she almost became a victim of homicide multiple times in her life, solely because she could feel no danger. Fear mainly keeps us safe. As my Neanderthal ancestor Grog would eloquently put it, fear helps us not be dead. However, it has much more to offer than that. Fear goes hand in hand with courage. It amplifies our concentration and focus, and even acts as a good motivator to such an extent that it can give you something known as hysterical strength. 2-year-old woman who lifted a car weighing 3,000 pounds just because her father was stuck under it. Now, your motivation while, say, running a marathon would be fairly high, but when your brain senses danger, it kicks this motivation into high gear, which is why this woman was able to lift 3 times as much as the world record for deadlifting. So, as you now know, fear has countless benefits, but it can also spiral out of control. Fear starts small, but it has the capability to morph into something much, much more deadly. My personal experience with fear began with my unwillingness to speak in front of large audiences, like this one. It then continued to avoiding events in which I would have to speak alongside others. My fear continued to build its empire in my mind, to the point where I couldn't even speak when a question was asked, or if I needed to use the washroom. But the snowball kept rolling. My fear kept becoming larger and larger and larger, until one day I realized my fear was no longer protecting me. It was crushing me into the ground. That's when I realized I had hit rock bottom. I was too scared to speak, even in front of my own friends. My fear had manifested. It had turned into this vicious monster that could break out of its cage any time it wanted to, and anywhere it wanted to. So it was something that was, instead of pushing me forward, it was holding me back. In simple words, it was unhealthy. So, what can you do if your fear starts controlling you? Well, it's time to take some action. It's time to take back the control that your fear somehow now has over you. The first step to taking back your control is to understand your fear. Ask yourself, what am I afraid of? How do I know I'm afraid of it? And most importantly, why am I afraid of it? Understanding your fear, conquering your fear, should be done logically. Encouraging your brain, encouraging yourself to think about a situation logically rather than emotionally can drastically help in the degree to which we feel fear. It can drastically help in the degree to which we feel fear. Psychologists Schachter and Singer propose a two-factor theory of emotion. They believe that when we feel emotion, it occurs in 2 stages. In the first stage, we notice a response. For example, a spider. Our body then produces a physiological reaction. In the second stage, our brain interprets this physiological reaction. And then an emotion is created. In this case, fear. However, another psychologist believes quite the opposite. In Lazarus's theory of emotion, of appraisal, he believes that we first notice a stimulus, and our brain interprets this stimulus. And so our body creates a physiological response, which creates an emotion, again, fear. Now, although the exact process of the birth of emotions is still unknown, most scientists today believe that our brain and bodily responses play a vital role in how we feel our emotions. So when it comes to controlling your fear response, again, it is important to think logically, and instead of emotionally. In this case, when it comes to the physiological aspect, remember, there are many ways to control it. You could take deep breaths, close your eyes, stretch your muscles. In this case, controlling your fear response is almost is very evidently putting mind over matter. So putting mind over matter. Fear is probably an emotion that has impacted my life the most thus far. But it is not the only one. We all feel an amalgamation of emotions, so many and so intricately that even words are not enough to explain them. It is perhaps this ability that of feeling this emotion so vastly and so intensely that makes us human. And so we must we must we must take our emotions and we must try to understand them. Modern society today is completely focused on what has the most utility. We are taught to put our fears into a box, put our emotions into a small box, and shove them in some dark, tiny corner in our brains. But this is not what reviving humanity is all about. Reviving humanity will only come from reviving yourself. It is a small step. Understanding your emotions, it is a small step, but it can change you and the world around you in ways greater than you can imagine. Thank you.